D-man. I'm hoping to see if the link I sent Jimmy will come through. Dan, Panda, waiting to see if that link I sent Jimmy will work. I mean, it always seems to be some trouble when I send a link to an email. I don't know if that has something to do with it. Since he hasn't shown up, I'm starting to wonder if there was a problem with that link. Yeah, it can be. I've only had success when I'm able to send a link to someone's cell phone. When I do it from my phone and then somebody else is trying to connect to their laptop or their camera system, I don't know. Sometimes it doesn't seem to work. Not sure I understand why. Guess I'm just kind of waiting to see if he pops in here. I sent the link, Jimmy. I did. I sent it. I sent it to the email. Oh, I don't ever use StreamYard except when yeah. I'm just using YouTube. I'm just on YouTube live stream. It's all I ever use, except for the last time when me and Chuck and uh, Ginger Bear, he was using StreamYard and it added me. Yeah, I'm just on the YouTube app. So I send a link and it should come through on the email, but I'm not sure if it sometimes it doesn't connect. Yeah, I wouldn't know about StreamYard D man. I don't use it. I probably need to look into it, like Dan's saying. Was that Jimmy? Are you still there? Is that link not in your email? There we go. There you are. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's a mobile thing.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, so I have to be on my phone, and if you guys want a tour of my studio, I can show you guys
Yeah.
my studio while you're drawing if your guests want to see it.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. I was worried it was a mobile thing. It doesn't tell you that specifically, but kind of a pain in the butt.
Oh yeah, it's mobile, and I'm watching myself um clicking on stuff, trying to figure out how to use it. It was funny. Um, but yeah, so it won't allow me to show myself drawing, but I can show you guys around my studio if you guys want to take a look.
I do.
Yeah. All right, so here's the water that I'm drinking right now. You got to stay hydrated. You got to give your brain power, so you got to do protein right there. Look at that. I'm promoting equate. No, but let me show you guys my studio. Look, you can see yourself.
There we go.
All right, so if you guys are curious, you want to see the setup. This is actually my Wacom Cintiq. You guys can see that. My computer, my microphone setup, and look, this is my own comic book, Dragon Rage. I got little posters and prints.
Nice.
and and then I'm a big Conan fan of Conan, so I've got these really cool Conan figures. And then because of you, Rob, you've put me back, made me feel nostalgic. I went back and I bought that Gen 13 issue that you showed, issue number 3 or 4. You showed one of the Gen 13s, and when you were flipping through it, it had this advertisement, and
Yeah.
I I remembered, oh my god, I love it, and so I bought the issue just to tear this out,
Nice.
hung it on the wall.
Yeah, that was a
Uh,
great ad. Is that the one that said like how much materials and supplies they used to make it?
yeah, yeah, that's the one. 3 years in the making, 4 pints of ink, and 29 pencils.
Right.
Yeah, that's the one. So if we scroll back, go back a little bit, we can see I got a large printer scanner combo right over here. So what I can do is whenever I would ink, this one time I had to ink David Finch. Dave and I had a deadline, and so Dave had to send me the artwork, you know, over the internet, and I downloaded the artwork and I put Bristol board in here, print it out, and then here's this really cool printer scanner combo that has this really neat little interface, and it lifts up. It's touch screen.
Oh wow.
Here's the cool scanner. It's a big scanner. And then whenever Dave would FedEx me artwork when I was inking him, the boxes would come in with his address and my old address. So I don't want to dox us, but I
Right.
got artwork. I keep the artwork in old FedEx boxes. So it's a good way to store. I'm sure Chuck Gibson does the same thing because he and I are from the same. He was Wildstorm. I was mostly School of Top Cow, but I'm sure he's old school like me, keeping stuff in that. And do you recall these? You did a review of the book.
Heck yeah. Absolutely. Those are awesome.
Yeah.
If I had more space to store stuff, I'd probably have more figurines, but yeah. I got to limit myself.
Yeah. So Dave was nice enough. He drew this cover for my book, Dragon Rage, and he did it for me as a favor, and he just drew it one day and sent it to me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So and then he sent me the original as a gift, and so I inked it, had Andrew Dollhouse color it, and Andrew is the colorist on Spawn and colorist on DC Comics. And Andrew's been a good friend of mine for a long time, so Andrew was excited. He got the color Dave Finch,
Yeah.
and I got to hang out with Arthur Adams, David Finch, and Kerry Nord. We all hung out together. We were at the same convention, and so I got to hang out with him for 3 days. And Art Adams, man, he had this print for me, and he signed it for me down at the bottom.
Nice.
Yeah, I framed it. And he was so cool, man. I hung out with him. If people follow me on Instagram at Jimmy Reyes Art, then you can see all the photos and pictures of me and Arthur Adams and video of me hanging out with me and Dave, laughing and joking around and acting stupid. It was a fun convention. It was and then we all go to dinner and hang out. And then so this is the wall that you can see. I got some cool artwork, and then here's one of my favorite. I'm not sure. Are you a fan of Frank Frazetta?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I got a huge poster with some glare on it, but so here's the tour of the office.
I don't trust anybody that doesn't at least kind of like Frazetta. Right?
Here's all the tools that I use when I'm traditional. When I do traditional art, here's where I keep my ink. Look at what you want to see quills. Look at this. I got a bunch of nibs.
Just fresh nibs ready to go.
Yeah, boxes of nibs. I got more boxes back here. Boxes in there. Have you ever tried inking with this? Or doing art with this? This
The
is this is an artist sponge.
That's
You
like dab ink and textures.
yep, dab ink, and then you just put in all these little textures and stuff. It's really cool, man. It's a little artist sponge.
Yeah, I've
But these
heard
are
of that, but I've never tried it.
look at this. This is my nib, and Massive Panda says, "Awesome studio space, Jimmy. Thank you."
Yeah,
Yeah, I've been doing this professionally for quite a long time, so I need a space. I started in a little nook in a little just corner of my kitchen when I started, and then my wife and I, when we got together almost a decade ago, we were in a little studio apartment, and I was just in a little corner by the window. And then we were lucky enough to get when we got our house. I got a whole bedroom, so that's where I'm at now. But here's a drawing traditionally. I don't know if people can see it.
yeah, yeah. I could see it.
Trying to adjust the light, but so I still draw traditionally. You can see this is how I have a camera set up so that people can view me as I'm drawing. And it's on an arm overhead, and then it's a webcam, and it just has a little flab, and then I can pull the flab open, and then it shows get the camera lens. It's pretty cool little setup. It goes to the back of the arm like that, and then I have this. I made this myself, and I bought the little arms, and it's actually on a drafting table. A drafting table on a drafting table.
Nice.
That's right. That's when you know you made it. That's when you know you're just so much talent, man. It takes two drafting tables.
You got too much talent that not one table could contain it.
No, you need to have, yeah, you got to have a table on a table. Need a rubber eraser. Uh, I'm not sure if you have these, Rob, but I have tons of French curves, and everything I've got here, Chuck Gibson has, because we're both the same. We're both mostly nib inkers. So
Yeah, I've got a basic set of French curves that I use
yeah,
fairly regularly.
and then I love dragons. I'm a big Game of Thrones fan. I love dragons. Let's see. The question is, hey Jimmy, did you get that camera arm off Amazon or something? Yes, I got this off of Amazon, and it was very inexpensive. I think I paid about $30 for the arm, and it just connects to the back of the drafting table, just like you would put your lamp. And then I have an LED lamp, which allows me to change the light settings. I have a second boom mic so that when I am sitting down right here, doing artwork like this, and I'm sitting here, doing my pretend I'm doing my work, then you guys can see the boom mic right there. And of course, every artist, we all have to have a the wall of shame with some of our work in here. Oh, here's my pencils. You are you like me? I'm frugal, Rob. I'm real cheap, man. So I go to the Dollar Tree and I found this tray. It's called Jot at the Dollar Tree. Look at that. Put my pencils on it.
That's perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
something just like that.
And I put it on the side of my desk. I usually have it back here on my desk, all the way in the back. One of the things that you need, I highly recommend for every artist, is that you need to have artist tape, low adhesive, low tack tape, so that when you tape down your artwork right there,
Yep.
it won't you peel it back up and it won't peel the your art.
Yeah.
You
I use
know.
cheap, like just cheap regular clear tape, and I've had that rip the paper before.
Oh
I need to get the artist tape. I need to get my
yeah.
tape game.
Well, you can get really any tape, and then what you do is you take the tape, stick it to a T-shirt like this,
Oh,
and then you peel it, stick it back on,
yeah,
peel it until it gets a little fabric on it, and then you get really low tack on it. And then once it isn't very sticky, then you stick it to your artwork,
yeah, yeah.
and then you have it right there. Um, and then I have a nice little bookshelf here, and David Finch. He works over, when we were doing some stuff. We did a Batman thing, and we did that on DC Artboard. But other than that, he always draws on the Strathmore 200 series. So everything I've inked him on has been on this artboard right here.
I think I have that exact artboard right here.
Yeah, look at that. It's pretty inexpensive. It's about $18 for the whole pack.
Yeah, yeah. I get that Bristol board, that same kind of stuff. I kind of got sick of the pre-printed blue lines on it and having to clear them off there. I seem to struggle getting it completely cleared off, so I just start using completely blank white paper.
Oh yeah, I have that too. I actually prefer for me, for myself, I prefer the blank ones.
Yeah,
Now these are different. These are actually not in a pad. When you open this up, it's in a plastic. And so if I open it, all you do is pull out the sheets. They come without any kind of gum on them, so they never tear on the tips or anything.
yeah.
And this has been much better paper for me to ink over than the 200 series that Dave is drawing on. But whenever he sends me stuff to ink, I ink whatever the hell he wants to draw on. And another good sheet of paper, but they're very expensive. The only reason I have them, and I have so many, is because they sponsored me. Eon Artboard. This is what I used to ink Brett Booth on. Brett draws on Eon, and I got to ink him a couple of times before Adelso Corona, and Adelso got the gig. He liked Adelso more, and but that was okay with me because I was already inking Dave. But he said I was his number 2 pick, and he said, "Have you ever heard of Eon?" So I called up the company and said, "Hey, if you send me some, I'll show them on my YouTube channel. I'll do a review." And they were really nice. They sent me like 100 sheets, and they're okay. They're close to the old days, the old image boards.
I've
Back in the
heard that those are amazing.
They were, well, I mean, for nib inking, they were good, but they weren't that great for penciling on it, and they, wasn't that great for brush. But back in the day, for us, for quills, it was amazing paper. Um, but when I started doing work, they were already getting rid of the paper, so I only got to ink a couple of things on that paper. But so you do reviews, and I'm gonna start doing a review like you, but mine, I don't want to, I don't want to take from what you're doing. I love what you're doing, and I love watching your channel. And
Thank you.
so I'm gonna do something where I'm gonna do the art that inspired me. So I'm gonna show the books that have art in it that has inspired who I am, and my art style. So the first one I'm gonna do is Gene Colan.
Nice.
So I'm gonna show. You might be able to see the Gene Colan influence in my work. And so, yeah, I got a lot of the books here because you recommended them. You showed a couple of books here, and I have it. I forget. I think you showed the Gen 13 in black and white. And then you showed another black and white image book that has the oh man, it had like the Wetworks #1, Wildcats #1, and I went and bought that.
Yeah, there's a collection that has like all these like first issues from all the titles, just all in black and white. I saw someone else talk about it, and I had to have it, and so I found it. It was an awesome find.
And then look at that. I got the Wetworks figure back there, 30-year-old figure.
I've never actually seen one of those in real life. Never heard of them.
Oh man, it's still my favorite figure. Um, and I like collecting these figures, and uh, I think they're really cool. Then I've got more book collections down here. Some from some of my friends. Um, what's his name sent me Aaron Lepresti, good friend of mine, and he's a fantastic artist. He drew a sword and sorcery book for Amethyst at DC Comics, and I was talking with him, and I said, "Dude, you did something sword and sorcery," and he said, "Yeah." So he signed it for me, Aaron Lepresti, and then uh, this is his work. And Aaron's fantastic, man. I'm a big fan of his. I tease him a lot. I tell him that I'm getting better than him, and that he's no longer going to be one of my favorites because I learned all his tricks, and I'm starting to learn even more. But he's a good guy. He's a really good guy. He's real nice, and he knows I hope he knows I'm joking,
I'm sure he does.
with him. And then Kenneth Rokefort's a friend in real life. If you guys don't know, Kenneth Rokefort worked at Top Cow. He moved to DC, and he to DC Comics, and he's a Puerto Rican artist, but he's a good friend. And he sent me this book that he's doing, and I even bought one. So he sent me one, and then I bought one, and so I got 2 copies now. I didn't. He didn't know I had already owned his book. And then Eric Canetti, I also know him. I like to get books of people that I know and friends, and see their work. He's got a book right now that's on Indiegogo. I think you buy it or off the website of Iconic Comics, Arc Athena. It's a really really cool book, and Eric's a nice guy. And a few years ago, so we've became friends. But here's my here's my favorite all-time favorite thing that I'm gonna keep forever. I'm gonna show you guys this thing. Check this out. Have you guys all seen the unwrapped DC Comics?
I've seen them. I don't own any, but that's on the list of stuff I want to get my hands on.
Yeah, so this one's over David Finch's collection on Batman, but that's not the reason why it's such a favorite. Uh, this is my favorite part of the book. He wrote for me to Jimmy, the greatest inker in the world.
Hell yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, we were doing a convention together, and I said, "Hey, Dave, man." Even though we're friends, I was like, that I'm still a big fan. I love your work, man, and I need you to sign my book for me. And he goes, "Yeah." I said, "But you got to sign it to the greatest inker in the world." And I laughed, and then we were at the convention, and the people, were at the table and stuff. So I got distracted. But when I came back, he had done that for me, and I just started laughing. I thought it was so cool. So I got to send a picture to his wife Meredith and show her. I don't know if she knows that Dave put that on there for me on the thing. But massive panda, Jimmy, did you say that was a Wetworks figure? I have some Wetworks that I bought, but still haven't read it. Read it till this day. Oh my gosh! Well, you're not missing anything.
I mean, for real.
Yeah, I mean, story wise, you're not missing a
Right.
thing. But I have this. Did you ever get this massive panda or Rob? Let me show you. It's here somewhere. I got two things here that you're gonna like, Rob. And one thing that made me sad when you reviewed it
Uh-oh.
was one that made me sad was you didn't know who Richard Bennett was and Aaron Weisenfeld. I was
Who they are. I mean,
oh
I
it-
mean, I'm aware of their names back like that. Deathglow Wolverine is one of my favorite books.
yeah.
Weisenfeld just changed completely from that heavy shadow, heavy cross hatching to that like hyper detailed, clean open line. When that came out, I was blown away, and I was so excited to review it, and like no one watched the video.
Oh no. It man, Aaron Weisfeld was so cool, man. I didn't know him because he was over at Wildstorm, but I wrote him one day and told him who I was and said, "Hey, I mean, I'm over doing work for different studios, but we've got mutual friends." And he was so nice, man. I had asked him one day. I said, "Hey, um, what is it about?" Getting in at the time I was in independent comics, and I said, "What is it about? How would I get in at like Marvel and some of the bigger studios?" And he said to me, he wrote back, he said, "It's real simple. If you're good, you'll get work. That's it." That's what he wrote back. He was a pretty cool guy though.
How long ago was that? Was that conversation?
Two Probably 2002, 2003.
Right.
This was a long time ago. I was inking back then. I was inking stuff, working on like Ghostbusters, stuff like that. But here's the other one that I want to show, Massive Panda, and you as well. Did you know that they had a collected edition of Wetworks?
I not specifically, no.
Yeah, look at that. They made a collected edition of Wetworks, and it collects issues 1 through 3, just 3 little issues. But story wise, I still don't understand the story.
Yeah, yeah.
But I bought the this trade paperback for one page alone, man. And this is the page that when I saw Wetworks, and I was just at the time I was inking independent comic books, little stuff, and I had just started assisting at a buddy of mine at Wildstorm. But this page right here of Dane right there, just the way that Will Spertasio rendered this page right here, I went, oh my God, like I didn't know people could draw like this.
Right. He knows
Mm.
lighting and form and musculature so well.
Yeah. And I just thought, oh my God, it was so amazing. So I was at the time I was transitioning. I was transitioning from a penciler to an inker, and I was working as an assistant with Salim Crawford, who Chuck Gibson I'm sure knows. He's probably hasn't heard that name and in a long, long time, just like Obi-Wan Kenobi when they said when they told old Ben Obi-Wan Kenobi. But Chuck Gibson, I'm sure. I don't know if he's ever, if he watch it, isn't watching this, but Chuck, if you remember Salim Crawford, he's the guy that taught me how to ink. And Salim was at Wildstorm. He's a pretty big name. He was pretty big. He inked a lot of, he inked Jim Lee, he inked Ryan Benjamin, and a bunch of different people. But oh, and here's a very important book. Every artist must have. It's a must have, guys.
Yep, I got mine.
Yeah, if you don't have this, then you're not taking the business seriously. But if you are like me, like I'm so talented. I mean, look at this. Look at this. Look at all talent. Look at all that talent and skill. And humility. It takes a lot of humility,
A lot of
man.
humility. You know,
Yeah.
while I'm thinking about it, you were talking about Wetworks and that Will's Potasio.
Uh-huh.
Are you on Facebook at all?
No, I got hacked on Facebook, so I
Oh.
just got rid of it.
Yeah,
But
there's this Wildstorm group that's on there, and I
oh,
don't know if you
wow.
saw that book that I put together. I reviewed of Nick
Uh-huh.
Manabat.
Yeah, yeah, Nick
Well,
Method. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, he was a
that was just
Filipino
sourced.
artist.
Yeah, that was just sourced from like people sending in their own artwork, and fans made that book. They're doing a
Oh, wow.
they're doing a similar one for Will's Potasio for his Wildstorm work, like a unique one-off art book of, they're just getting everyone to send in high resolution scans for anybody who's interested. um
Wow.
they're putting that together. A lot of people were mad that they missed out on that Nick Manabat one. I've had people asking me if I'd sell it to them, and I'm no.
No, I wouldn't sell that. I mean, it's not like it's on the market or anything. It's
Yeah, it's yeah, you'll never find that anywhere. So, but anyway,
yeah.
doing one for Potasio.
So here is the another book that you must have. You must have this book on how to draw hands and feet. It's on Amazon, and people are always saying they have a hard time drawing hands and feet. But if like I have a new book that'll be coming out in 2025. I'm doing a new Western horror book called Darklanders. I'm doing a little self promotion here. But
Yeah,
if you if you see in my book, I mean, I love drawing hands, and I learned from this book. It's breaks it down. It's so simple.
I need to get that.
Yeah, it's a really easy process. You know, to draw, and hands and feet aren't hard at all. You know,
She learned
so
how to break them down into like basic shapes.
yeah, it's just basic shapes. It's really, the finger is only in three sections. You know, your finger has, you have the knuckle and two joints. So it's just three little sections that your hand can bend. And all they are is just like drawing little sausages, little cylinders. And it's really simple. And you'll be able to, do some work. And it really helped me. I mean, I'm not the greatest, artist in the world, but I really do put, uh, time into, an effort into really just trying to learn as much, as I can, and being able to draw some of this all this stuff here. I can hide the inks. Let's see if I can show you guys the pencils.
Nice.
Uh, Here is the pencils, and this way, you guys can see the amount of work that, in detail that I put into stuff to try to really, I want to elevate my work each and every time that I draw something. You know, I
That
want
looks,
it to be.
man. I love the hair on that girl. That looks so good.
Oh yeah, yeah. Hair's not hard either. It's really pretty easy. Um, I've really a lot of the hair that way I draw the hair is really a lot like Jim Lee, but Dave taught me a lot. inking the hair. And then here's my characters. This is the preview of the new book called Darklanders. So this is what I'm currently working on. I was going to draw. I was going to work on that page with the girl and the wolves. But when I thought you maybe were on StreamYard, let's see. Massa Panda says, Rob beat me to it. I was just about to say how beautiful her hair is rendered. Bravo, man. Wow. Kevin says, amazing work, Jimmy. Thank you, Kevin, man. I really do appreciate it. I might, I like to BS and pretend I'm confident and say, my work's so great that it takes two drafting tables to sustain my talent. And it takes a copy of, like this is how I got so good. I also have the book and the video of how to draw comics the Marvel way. Because John Buscema has so much talent, man. You can't just learn everything on the book. But I'm not. I struggle when I draw, just like every artist. I have days where there are things that, I'll struggle in my work, to draw. And one of the things that was, bending her leg back right there. Thankfully, my wife, Anna, she's a fitness nut. She likes to work out and eat healthy, and so she's got great tone in her muscle tone in her legs. So I had her, you know, bend her knee. Not as much muscle tone as that girl you showed with the bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's not that tone, but
That's awesome to have someone that you can like help do some art modeling for you to kind of get some of that referencing right. That's a huge win. I've got a friend who, does some art modeling for me, and she's a little amateur bodybuilder. So, but it's not like it's a wife. It's just a friend who I invite over, like, hey, come art model for me. And she's like, okay.
yeah, no, it's really good having something like that because sometimes you need reference.
Yeah.
The way I was taught, Marx Vestry would say, and when to use reference properly is you draw from imagination, but then if you need to get the small details, you would then use reference and extrapolate that information. Like you would just draw a box shape for a car, and then you would look at a picture of a car and just kind of add the headlights and the bumper and all that stuff. Um, but this is a poster that a fan of Dragon Rage drew up for me, and a friend of his colored it, and he sent it to me. Somebody that another artist who said, "Hey, I really like your work. I like your book," and he sent this to me. So I loved it so much, I made a poster out of it.
That looks fantastic. That's a heck of a gift.
Yeah, I was like, "Wow, this is just so great," you know. And then being once you get into making comics, I'm not so much a consumer anymore. So I don't have the world's biggest collection. I mean, these are short boxes right here, and then this is all that I have. But I've got some really neat stuff in here that. Oh, I got this one because you reviewed it, and I said,
Yeah.
"Oh my God, I forgot Barry Windsor Smith." And I'm a big Barry Windsor Smith fan. I love it. And I already had Machine Man from the '80s. I don't know if you've got this book, and you should review this.
I've heard of it, but I don't have it.
Oh, and here is Michael Broussard, man. I wasn't friends with Michael Broussard, but I was friends with his inker, Ryan Wynn. Ryan Wynn and I have known him for a long time. And Ryan Wynn was his inker, but Michael Broussard could draw just like Mark Silvestri. And this is a book, man, right here that if you can get, I'd highly recommend getting this one, Rob. I used to have multiple copies of it, but I don't know what happened to them. But this is back in the day when they were doing the Top Cow books in the Raw, and this is it's all in pencils.
I'd love that.
Yeah, all it's all pencils, and it even has Del Keown and Del. Dell and I become friends. I didn't know Dell until about a couple of years ago. I got to meet Dell, and Now I know him, and he knows me by name. We hang, I haven't met him in person, but we hang out on live streams and we talk, uh, and Del Keown's given me a couple of pointers, and he's helped me out a lot with just giving me, a couple of few minutes of pointers and tips. But that's Del Keown's work right here. It's in the book. And just seeing the light. And then Dell's really cool. He likes my work on Twitter. He'll see something and he'll give me a compliment on it. And he's not somebody to throw up critiques or anything. He doesn't critique it, but he's really nice enough where I can ask him and go, hey, Dell, what do you think about this, or how did you approach that, in one of your drawings? And he's been nice enough to say, oh, well, I asked him one day, how do you draw hands? And he said, oh, what I do is I take the two finger, the index finger and the one in between. He goes, and I split them like this. Everything is drawn this way, like that. And he said he just looks in the mirror and he just draws that hand. It's always like that. And when he described it to me like this, now I can draw my hands. I can draw these hands like that. And just split those two fingers real wide and just do that like that. And every single one, I've done this on a couple of covers, like over and over. Like these are the hands, and Dave Finch is he's a big fan of that too. He likes Del Keown's hands. But look at this. This is the one. Did you review this one?
I think I've done the first, just the regular full color. I think I've done the first 2 issues. Definitely the first one. Maybe the first
Oh,
two. It's been a minute,
I
maybe a year
think
ago.
I think this is the one Dave signed for me. No, I have another. Oh, Ascension. I have the black and white Ascension, and I sent it to Dave, and I said, "Hey, man, can you sign it?" And he was nice enough. He signed it for me, and he sent it back to me. Um, I don't know where I put it. I have it in here too. I have a bunch of stuff just moved on. Oh, this is the one you review that.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Love that one.
Yeah. Oh, here's a cover. I started drawing this at a convention just for fun. Doing a quick sketch of the Hobgoblin. Back in, I think I drew this in 2016, and I hated it. I didn't finish it. So I have my
Okay, but
I have those times where I just go, I don't really like what I'm doing, and I just said forget it, and I gave up on it. So if you guys are drawing something and you ever feel like, oh my god, I'll never be professional, I give up on it, well, know that professionals, we've abandoned some work too. At least I have. I've given up on some stuff and just said, forget it. And then I think you reviewed this, right? The
uh,
Spotlight on Ghibli.
not that book specifically. No.
Oh, I thought maybe you did. Um, I love watching review videos, so I always forget where I've seen and who I've seen it from.
Yeah. Oh, you're fine.
But I'm pretty much just sticking to your channel now because of the fact that you're funny with it. I like that you don't, like, you'll say what you really think of it, despite even if people are going to disagree.
Yeah, the only thing that's got me like a little bit worried is that now that I've gotten a little bit of a following and I've made a few connections with a few people in the industry, I'm like, I don't want to like say anything rude to somebody who's watching and then maybe have them get pissed off at me. So I try to make sure I always say,
Yeah,
I'm not talking about the human being. I'm just
yeah.
talking about the art, what I think at the time. But I get nervous a little bit now that I've got a little bit of a viewership. It kind of shocks me.
Well, you said something the other day about Brett Booth, and I was like, oh, I know Brett. Brett and I talk, so I'm gonna go tell on you, and
See?
hey, Brett, there's this guy criticizing your work. Go check out his channel. Go troll him, Brett. Come on. No, Brett's a nice guy. He doesn't take offense. He wouldn't even care. You could always say what you think of his work, and he's not sensitive like somebody else who has drawn a book called The Force. Was it Z Force? And Old Blood. You know that guy?
Who could
Awesome.
that possibly be?
I don't know. It's a. I know I'm good at riddles, so nobody will solve that one. Look, I have the trade and I have the issues. That's how much I love that book.
Yeah, that book blew me away when I saw it. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what happened? This is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
So I've gotten to meet people through Dave. He's introduced me to some pretty big name people. If it wasn't for him, I honestly I mean, I wouldn't know some of the people in the industry. And I've gotten to meet some really big name people. And I'll tell you, man, our industry, in the comic book industry, there are some pretty strange characters in there. But a lot of the guys that I've met have been pretty humble. I think they're so used to people just saying, oh my God, I love your work. I think at this point, you know, um, they're okay with it now. They just go, oh yeah. But look at this, man. You broke my heart, dude, when I saw you say you didn't like continuity comics.
I know.
This is this is Rudy Nebra inks, man, and I bought this and I love it. Look at this. Somebody put it for $1. They disrespected it too. I was like, don't you guys know how good? Like, I mean, there's just so much skill and talent went into those books, man. And here's your favorite right here. I was like, oh, dude, I got to get this autograph for Rob right here. And
Absolutely.
have you told everybody about your tramp stamp that says Rob Liefeld on your lower back?
It's a secret, or at least it was.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, so Billy Tan is a guy that I did work for, so I got to meet him. He's one of the guys I met through Dave Finch.
I remember that.
And yeah, this one's the preview of the Spirit of Tao, so it shows the work in black and white. So people here on your channel that like to appreciate reviews and previews of books, here's one that I will try to open one-handed here. But this one's a really good book to if you're a fan of Billy Tan, because look at that, it's his pencils. So anytime I can get my hands on a book that is all pencils, and there's Billy Tan when he's young, right there with Detron, back when they were young. But
Yeah.
oh, this is Billy Tan and his wife. His wife works in Beijing and like financing. She's makes a lot of money. He doesn't have to work anymore. He's a trophy husband now.
He's living the dream.
He's living the dream, I know. And so he was doing comics there in Beijing, and he hired me and Dave Finch, and we did a cover for him. And I got to ink Dave on that cover, but it was a character created by Stan Lee, one of his last characters. And I don't know anything about the character, but I wish that I sold the original art too. I wish that I had kept it. It
Now,
was
is that pencils or is that
yeah.
ink?
No, it's pencils. It's Billy Tan's pencils.
See, there's this wild thing where there will be an artist like I was never the biggest fan of his kind of top cow work, but then you show it to me in pencil black and white form, and suddenly it becomes magical somehow. And it's like color makes it not interesting to my eye, and I can't explain that, but I love what I'm seeing.
Yeah, they if you get a good colorist, the colors can help emphasize form and shape. And if you get a bad colorist, bad colors can really just tear apart the artwork, and they and the people watching are probably like, oh my God, look at the way he's manhandling this comic. I mean, I don't collect, so I don't care if they get dings and stuff on them. I don't use them for investment or anything like that.
My comics are to enjoy. I mean, I'm gonna flip them open and look at them. They're not financial fallbacks. Yeah, see,
Damon
that's
King says,
tough. I've seen the artwork in color, and I just kind of was dismissive of it. But looking at that, like, I
uh-huh.
love it.
Let's see, it was Damien King says Jimmy has a wife art model too. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. She models for me, doing that. Mupper Sand says he met Brett in early '90s convention in Chicago. He was super nice. Yeah, Brett's been been really nice. I'm friends with Brett and friends with Andrew Dollhouse, and they're Brett and Andrew are good friends. I met Brett through Andrew Dollhouse, so I've known Andrew, and then Andrew knowing Brett, and then he introduced me, and then I got work. I got to ink Brett, all because of here's my comic book Dragon Rage that I did back in 2020. That's Dave Finch on the cover on that one. This is Dave Finch and I. We did Radiant Black together for Image Comics. That's Dave's pencils. I usually don't keep any of my work. I usually just either give them away or people have asked me to. They offer money, and I sign it and I send it to people. But here's the colored version of that comic book. Dragon Rage, but I'm not doing Dragon Rage anymore. I stopped and decided to do a Western horror comic. But I was looking here specifically for a book for you that I wanted to show you. That I don't know where half the stuff is. Like I never keep stuff alphabetized. Are you one of those guys, Rob?
Absolutely not. It's just a giant mess. I've got
Oh, okay.
15 full-size long boxes, and stuff is sort of grouped together sometimes, and other times it's just dropped in there.
So here's your favorite comic that you said, "Oh, I'm gonna keep this one special place in my heart," and take constant. I love this stuff, man. That's Richard Bennett. He's a big influence on my work. He's an artist from Spain, and so look, there's more right there. See, anytime I can find them, I will buy them.
Well, you're going
It's,
to get like 40 books or so.
oh,
So,
I'm so ready. Oh, here it is. Look, this is the Genesis one that you showed that you reviewed that had all the black and white.
yeah. Oh, I love that. I
Yeah.
love seeing the Jim Lee Death Blow stuff.
Yeah. I was trying to find. Here's another one. Look at this. I love this Miss Mystic. This guy that drew this issue number 8. It's fantastic. I mean, look at that body language and that kiss right there. That the way he drew, the romance. Not everybody can draw that. Most people just want to draw superposes and fights and
Is that Neil Adams on the cover? Seems like he did all the covers. Is that at least
yeah, pretty much it's
mostly?
Neil Adams. If not, it's Neil Adams' alter ego, Krusty Bunkers. Krusty Bunkers. Anytime you see that credit in Continuity Comics, that was his name. That's him. I
Really?
don't. Yeah, I don't know why he just wouldn't say, "Oh, I penciled and inked it." He would say it was inked by Krusty Bunkers, and we're like, "Well, that's you, Neil." Um, I don't know why, but here's a book that I really like, and it's a manga. It's called Lotus War, and this one's the Lady of Ferris, and the artist on this is really good. Look at this. Massive Panda says, "Damn, Rob, you've got 15 long boxes. I thought I was doing something because I
Uh,
have 5. I've got to step it up." Well, maybe 6 if you include all the unboxed stuff scattered all over my room. Yeah, I'm with you there, man. I only have 5 short boxes.
yeah, I was
And
a big collector for a long time of just a lot of the same stuff. Apparently, since my reviews seem to all be the same stuff, but it's
and
just
then
what I liked.
I got to meet and hang out with Jason Fabok through Dave Finch. Uh, I got to meet Jason. I almost inked him on 3 Jokers. He was so close, but then he would have to split the page rate with me and split the original art, and he didn't want to do that. He wanted me to give him all the original art, and he really at the end of it he didn't want to split his page rate. And I didn't blame him. I mean I get it. And when DC was like, "Oh, well, you have to send some of your page rate over to Jimmy," he's like, "Nope, I don't need an inker."
That sucks. They won't pay for the inker. Like they're like you're not worthwhile. So if you want to have an inker, you gotta pull it out of your own paycheck.
Yeah, it was there's a certain budget, and they say, "See, I got more Continuity Comics, man. I can't believe you would." This stuff right here is Rudy Nebra, dude. Beautiful inks. But Yeah, they have a certain budget and they have to hire the talent within that budget. So if their artist is pencil and inking himself, then they're going to, you know, pay them. They get both rates, and if they want an inker, then they got to split and get rid of
Yeah.
that inker rate, which would be about 250 a page. So you're losing $250 a page. That's a lot of money for an artist, and they're not willing to give it up. So Jason Fabok decided that he was just going to draw everything digital and not do traditional and not need an inker. But I think he printed out the covers and he inked them traditionally. I think is the way he went, so that he had original art on that. But look at this. Did you know that Soul Saga had a collected edition?
I did not. Does that have that one final issue that was like never released in the States or whatever happened to it? And it was,
No, this one only collects issues 1 and 2, and then
oh,
they have a second version of it that collects issue what is it, issue 2 and 3, and then they never came out with 4 and 5 collected.
uh,
And then I think issue 5 is the one that did not come out in the US.
I think I want to say it was 6. I think it goes up to issue 5. I
Uh,
believe. But I was a huge fan of that. It was kind of like a spiritual replacement for Battle Chasers, which Joe
yeah.
Matt given up, and I was loving it, and then it just never finished.
How long? Take a big guess here, and I bet you won't even get it right. How long do you think it took Stephen Platt to draw this page right here, Rob?
If I had to guess, I mean,
How many days do you think that it took?
did it take him 20 minutes total?
Yeah. Look at that. It's just half the face right there
And
that
it
you
still looks cool. That's the thing.
you know. Yeah, it's just full shadow with the red light coming through right there. Uh that didn't take long at all. Then here's your favorite. Uh,
Heck yeah.
you you always got to turn the waist, and
Yep.
you got to
You have that chest pointing at you and that booty pointing at you.
and
You
you
gotta
got you
do
got to
them
have a
both.
wedgie. Yeah, it's got to be a wedgie in every issue.
He knows what sells.
Yeah, so yeah, they did a collected edition. I thought it was pretty neat, man. It's pretty cool, collected edition. And so I'm trying to get the second one. So if anybody out there, go to jimmyreyesart.com and go to my PO box in the contact section. I accept freebies. So
Please.
send me all your continuity comics. Then I will take every single continuity comic. I am not shameful at all. And then I think you showed this one right here, Mark Silvestri in black and white.
Oh, I love that stuff. That in that issue right there, that one specifically is like primo, like unbelievable. How is there no Mark Silvestri like artist edition with the X-Men and the Wolverine stuff?
Oh yeah, man, I bought this. If you get this book, this is the Batman Joker Deadly Duel collected edition hardcover. So man, that was a mouthful. But if you get this book right here, let me prop it up so I can show you guys why it's so special. So it's the hard cover edition, and some people out there may already know, but it contains inside the issue in the back. Once you get past all the pages, the covers, look at this. It has the artwork in black and white.
Just some select pages.
Yeah, it's the first maybe 20 pages or something like that.
Yeah.
In
Uh,
black and white, no lettering.
yeah, Chuck Gibson showed me, and I picked up. There's like a collection that's just like I think the first two issues. That's just the black and white, which I
Yeah.
got. But I want that freaking French artist edition that was like
Yeah,
the
I
whole
think
thing.
I think the French artist edition didn't have any words in it.
Right, that's what
Um,
I want.
and that's what this one has too. This one has without any lettering in it, which is what I like. I like the fact that there's no lettering on this at all, to block any of the artwork. But the one that you were saying that Chuck showed you, that one has uh lettering in it, and that bugged me, dude. I bought it too, but I went, oh my god, they're covering up the artwork.
Yeah, in fact, I got it sitting right here. I didn't even think about that, but
Yeah. So this collected edition, man. Yeah, that one. See how it,
oh,
you
this one
know.
doesn't have. There's
Oh,
no
where did you get that one? Let me
this.
see that again.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
I have that. I have that.
yeah, it's the first two issues. I didn't think it had.
I
Um,
thought it had lettering in it.
Not this one. That because that would have thrown me off too. Like I
Oh,
all these black and white ones to read the story. I buy it to ogle the artwork.
yeah. I mean, if you look, looking back at my work, I'm gonna self promote here. I'm shameful, but
Do
like
it.
here's my work. You can see. Oh, I mean, you might be able to see the Mark Silvestri influence.
I can.
I love shading in the negative space. I love drawing organically. I'm a big fan of Silvestri, Travis Charest, and David Finch, and I thought my book was gonna fall. I'm trying to reach over and grab it, but yeah, so that's my work there.
I was going to show you. There's this panel that Chuck Gibson inked for me, and he said he specifically tried to go for like a Dan Green, Mark Silvestri kind of
Yeah.
round you see in this top panel here. He tried to go for a look like that on that top panel that Chuck inked for me, and I was like, "Oh, I love it."
Wow,
So
that
perfect.
is an amazing panel.
Yeah,
Yeah, Chuck is
yeah,
a great inker, man. I mean, I don't think people really know. I met Chuck back in 2016, I think. No, I met Dave and started inking Dave in 2016. I met Chuck in 2018, right after. And I think Chuck followed me over to your channel because I was he and I were chatting, and then I commented on yours. One of your first videos, your first reviews, I think. I commented on it, said great video, and then I saw Chuck was on there right after.
yeah.
And I don't remember if Chuck and I had a conversation. I think we might have had a conversation, and I might have said we were talking about book reviews and stuff because he likes that stuff too. And then you and Chuck hit it off, man, lot more than he and I did. Like you guys ended up talking more than he and I did.
He was very considerate of me and my time, and he was very complimentary and said some really nice things that gave me confidence that maybe I have something that works. And
Yeah,
it just, and then he was saying that he kind of wanted to get back into the drawing game, and what us working together has afforded him the opportunity to kind of hone his skills and his workflow, and we've just kind of synced up in a way that's kind of working really well. I'm not usually a fan of, I've said this, if digital inks look so obviously digital, and that really only happens when people don't know what they're doing.
yeah,
Like, you haven't seen my stuff. And he was 100% correct. I was like, all right, I'm on board. So I consider myself extremely fortunate.
yeah. Daniel Goodwin says, Chuck could ink my tax return and I'd be into it.
Right? You better believe it.
Where it says you owe 10 grand.
Right? Oh shit! Wait a minute.
Wait, but it was inked by Chuck Gibson.
He did it. Go talk to him. What's funny is but when I shut down my first live stream to start the second one with you, he sent me a message. He's like, "Dude, those pages you're drawing, send them to me. I want to get inking on them." I was like, "I will. I swear. I'm about to go live with Jimmy." So I thought he'd be stepping in here, but I don't think he's seen the message.
He's probably inking,
Yeah. Or he's
inking
been ready
away.
for bed. He's such a early to bed, early to rise guy.
Oh yeah, he's like me. I'm the same, man. I'm usually in bed around this time. I start closing up about this time. But yeah, so here is showing everybody again. Here's the my my wolves that I love to draw. I love drawing wolves. I love drawing animals. I love drawing the female anatomy.
Heck yeah, that's a
This is
great figure.
Yeah, it's gonna be, these are pages for my upcoming book.
See, to me, it's got
So
the perfect balance of like it's comic book, like impossibly hot babe, but still within the boundaries of believable and realistic, not hyper exaggerated. It's like that perfect balance.
oh, yeah, yeah, I like anatomy, but I like to exaggerate some anatomy, and, if you and Chuck get time, man, I mean, right now, I mean, it's a creator-owned book, so there's not a budget, but if you guys wanna get published together in something, if you guys maybe wanna do something, a pinup in the book or something, I'll put it in there.
I'm sure that could be something we could do.
That way you guys are in print together, in a book. It'll be full color, so, and then I'll send out copies to you guys, so when the book comes out. But it'll be crowdfunded through Indiegogo, but generally, I mean, my last 2 books did pretty well, so, um, pretty good fan base and audience, so hopefully, be enough people to be able to see it.
That'd be amazing.
Plus my peers, they buy them. I got, a lot of professionals, like I said. I mean, Dale Keown backs my book, and Aaron Lopresti, and, guys like that, and, Dave Finch, and big names in the industry, uh, they usually back my book. But here's a thing where, like, I never thought I'd be drawing a cat. Like, I mean, I shouldn't say I hate cats. I don't get cats.
That's
And in
beautiful.
my book, I have a cat in my book. Are you a cat owner? Did I just insult you?
I would if I had the space. I would
Oh,
like to, but I don't. But if I had,
oh yeah.
I would.
Yeah, I don't get cats. Like, I don't understand why people have them, because some people like it because the cats leave them alone. Like, there's a comedian who said he had a cat. He liked the fact that the cat left him alone, because the cat would walk over to him and go, "Hey, buddy, what are you doing?" And then the cat would go, "Oh yeah, I don't care," and then turn around and walk away.
Right? Cats don't give a shit.
Yeah. The cat's like, "Oh yeah, I forgot. I don't care," and then walks away. And it made me laugh, and I was like, and now that I'm drawing a cat, now I kind of want a cat.
A little fur coated razor
Yeah.
blade.
And we just lost Kevin Ball. He says unsub.
Out of here.
He said, "What? You don't like cats?" I'm reporting this whole damn channel.
But
Yeah. So here's a girl that is going to be holding the cat. She doesn't. It isn't going to be topless, but
oh, son of a
I haven't penciled in the thing. Hold on. I'm doing this with one hand here. Here we go. So see her face. Her mouth is sewn,
ditch
and
check.
then she's got a cat.
And you draw those cats so well.
Oh,
Makes me
thanks.
want to draw a cat. I've never tried, and now I'm like, I kind of want to.
Oh, I love drawing animals. That's one of my things that I'm good at, is drawing the animals. Yeah. I like drawing animals and women. I've gotten pretty good at it. So I put a lot of animals in my book.
Horses are hard. I've tried that a couple of times, and because I haven't done it enough. I'm sure if with some repetition I could get a little better, but I've struggled every time I've tried to draw a horse, especially their face.
Oh, yeah, I think on this one, I just drew this one from imagination, but the one that I showed a little while ago, this one right here, I actually had a reference, and I did it on my live stream, where I showed how to pull up reference, and I pulled up reference and drew that face right there, just to fine tune it.
Yeah.
I had to pull the reference just to kind of get some of the to see some of the muscles and the tendons that were on the face, and then I adjusted my rendering and shading because of with the reference. So I'm not against reference, man. Reference is good,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
what I like about you, and I think what attracted me and both Chuck Gibson to your work, what attracted us to your work is that you draw, like, you really draw, like, you have a pencil, you're getting in the loose gestures, and you're drawing. And that's the thing I try to because I like to teach people on my channel, and the one thing I like to share is that you have to just draw. And even if the drawing's not perfect, just get the drawing done because your next one will get better and better and better. And I'm not, and this isn't directed to you, Rob,
No, no,
but
no.
you
But
you
it's good advice. Yeah.
you have to go through like 1,000 crappy drawings to get good, right?
Yep.
Um, and so, that's the only way to get better. I mean, I've gotten privy to see. I got to see the early work of Michael Turner. I got to see the stuff before he was professional, the stuff before Dave Finch was professional. I've gotten to see some really early Jim Lee stuff that Jim Lee had that before he got published. And dude, those dudes, like, if you were to see their work before they got pro and were drawing every day, you would have said, no, there's no way these guys would have a career in comics. Like, it was so bad. I mean, Mike Turner's work was so bad. I don't know how he got hired at Top Cow. I mean, I know Joe Benitez, says, I mean, he liked what he saw, but and he, brought him over to Top Cow. But I was like, I don't know why they hired him, but uh, you know, these guys were so far behind, and then drawing every day and being around professionals and being willing to say, you know what, I don't know everything, teach me. They learned a lot. I mean, he learned a lot from Mark Silvestri.
I couldn't imagine being so lucky to be in a studio setting with Silvestri and all the artists he hired, and then you could just compare and contrast and ask and learn and grow, probably at an exponential rate, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten been fortunate enough to work in, two different studios, and just being around artists, I've learned a lot. But also having live streams like this and getting to hang out like with Del Keown and Aaron Lopresti and Ethan Van Sciver is a really talented artist, David Finch, and just hanging out with a bunch of group of guys and on live streams, on different live streams, and Eric Canetti and just drawing along with them or watching them work. It's like being in a studio. It's really the same thing.
Yeah. And I think you know that there's people watching you, it pushes you to like, I better do the best I can do. I better not like half-ass this. If no one's watching, who cares? But you got some of these good peers watching you. You probably are like, I better bring my A game because people are watching. That's I know how that's how I feel.
Yeah, the only thing I miss, honestly, about a studio is that, when you're in a virtual studio like this on live streams, you lose the ability to go over to somebody's desk and steal their pencils and erasers. You know? And no, I mean, I've worked in two different studios and nothing ever disappeared. Nobody ever stole anything. People were, um, I think because people knew, like, if you touch somebody's pencil right there, that's like taking their wife. They might as well just go touch their wife. And
Yeah, ooh, you're taking your life in your own hand.
yeah,
Chuck Gibson, he shared with me stories of, Wildstorm. He
yeah,
shared with me several things like I can't repeat, but
oh yeah,
the
yeah,
stuff that he's talked about, that he's seen, what he thought about some other people here, this or that, the other, um,
yep.
and it's fascinating to hear about those experiences. And yeah, I wanna get him on my channel one of these times proper and do like just a conversation with him and have him share the stuff that he kind of wants to because he saw a lot of neat stuff. Just like what
Oh
you're,
yeah.
he saw a lot of neat stuff.
I got to go to the Wildstorm. We went over to I want to say it was the Christmas party. And oh, and Sandra Hope is a good friend too. I know Sandra. She worked at Wildstorm. She's really nice.
He's very
I've
encouraging.
known her since I've only met her when at DC when she was over at DC, but she's really nice, and I chat with her a lot. Um, the I went over to that Halloween party and oh no, I mean Christmas. It was a Christmas party, I think, and Extreme Studios was there, Top Cow, and then it was the Wildstorm guys. I think were the host, and uh, Dan Frago was on the stage rapping, doing a rap, and he was like 20 years old, I think, 22 years old at the time,
Wow.
doing this rap thing. And I remember the guys were laughing. They were just like making fun of him, laughing. And I was like, oh my God, these people is this what it's like at Wildstorm? And these guys are just talking behind each other's back. and I was hanging out with Matt Broom, Alex Gardner, Danny Mickey, and who else was there? I think that was it. We were all in Dallas because Alex Gardner was from Dallas, and we were all hanging out together in the green room at a convention. So we're all just talking, and they started talking about Jim Lee, but not in a bad way, but at the point where they started going, "Hey, when Jim Lee drew this in this page, I forget what it was. It was something in he drew something. I don't know if it was in Wildcats because this was when Wildstorm had really just started hiring the first set of people, and Gen 13 wasn't out yet, I think, or Gen 13 #1 was out, and they were promoting, I think, Gen 13. And so they were talking about Jim Lee, and I remember Alex Garner going, "Well, I think it's just because Jim didn't know how to draw it." And I remember I was 19 years old, and I remember I had just gotten my first work. I was just barely, not even, I mean, I had my first work professionally. I really didn't have anything else under my belt but one book. And these guys were talking about Jim Lee, who I idolized. And I was like, oh my God, how dare you say Jim Lee can't draw something? He could draw everything and anything.
Right?
That that was in my head. And then um, they start talking about Chris Bochello or Bacalo. I don't even know how to pronounce it either. Chris Bochello, I think, or something like that. But they were talking about Chris and J. Scott Campbell, and they were like, "Yeah, Jeff can draw. He could outdraw Chris." And they go, "I think Jeff is going to be the one that's going to be victorious." And Matt Broom said that. He said it like the biggest nerd. He goes, "I think Jeff will become victorious. He will be the," because they were like between those two, Gen 13 and Gen X, who's going to be the artist to make it. And when he said that, it was so nerdy, but I didn't say anything because Matt Broom, man, he was the biggest dude. He looked like a football player. He was a little taller than me. He was only like 5'7", 5'8", but he looked like he could bench press you. Like he was like he was a pretty built dude. And I laughed because of the way he said it. But Matt was really cool. He looked over at me when I laughed, and he thought I was laughing with him, and he laughed with me. But I was laughing at him, and he did the goofiest laugh, and it made me laugh more. And then when I laughed, made him laugh more. So I'm laughing at him, but he thinks I'm laughing with him, and he's doing the goofiest laugh, and it makes me laugh more. And then everybody's laughing, and we don't know why everybody's laughing. You know, the whole little group there, and then we after the convention we all decide everybody wants to go get drinks, but I don't drink, but I want to hang out with these guys because I'm a nobody. I've just barely broke in, and I'm hanging out with the new Wildstorm guys, and I thought they were the most amazing guys. So we get in their rental car, and Danny Mickey's driving, and Mickey didn't know his way around Dallas, and Alex Gardner should have been driving because he lived in Dallas, but he wasn't the one driving. It was Mickey, and Mickey drove like he lived in India or Vietnam. Like, you ever seen video footage of traffic
Were they
in,
just driving all over the place with no regard for like stoplights and shit?
yeah, running red lights, going down one ways? I mean, he hit the curb. Man, I mean, this guy was driving, and we didn't even get to the bar yet. It wasn't like, it was like drinking afterwards. Like he was driving after drinking. That was just his driving. And it was crazy. It was insane. And the car was packed. Like I'm shoulder to shoulder sitting in the back seat. I'm a little nobody back there hanging out with these guys, all excited, and everybody's shoulder to shoulder. And there had to have been, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 of us just squeezing in there. And Matt Broom is huge, man. He's built, dude, big shoulders, man. And we're all crammed in this one little rental car, and Mickey driving crazy everywhere. I mean, just getting there, but we get there and we meet up with the rest of the convention and other people, and it was a lot of fun. Those dudes were crazy, man, getting drunk, karaokeing, and I didn't know those guys partied. Like it was. I thought everybody was just like a nerd, like, but those guys drank, man. It was fun, back then, hanging out, and Comics today, man, people are just on the internet, hate each other. They're taking it so seriously. Everybody's offended. Everybody's fragile. And I'm like, man, back in the 90s, man, like I feel like a hippie telling everybody about, man, Woodstock was the thing. It was love. We just loved each other, you know? Yeah. So,
Hey, speaking of, just real quick, whatever happened to that Matt Broom? I just remember seeing his art on Stormwatch, and I don't know that I've ever seen him do anything else or whatever happened to the guy.
last I saw was he and Wendy Fouts got married, and he and Wendy got married, and then I don't know where they went or what happened after that. I just remember, um, everybody talking about going to the wedding and stuff like that, and so I don't know. I didn't know Matt that well. I just met him, and we just kept in contact for a few years, and then I lost contact with him. So I don't know what happened to him, but I did meet. I eventually got to meet Salim Crawford, Ryan Benjamin, meet those guys, and I wish that I had gotten to meet. I never got to meet Richard Bennett and his wife Monica. I
Right.
never got, I never got to meet them. But I wanted so bad to meet them. I did get to talk to, and like I said, I was communicating with Aaron Weisenfeld for a while via email. He was really cool, and then we were calling each other up and stuff. And I get to talk with him. But by that time, when I was talking to him on the phone, he was a painter. He was just painting.
Yeah. You know what's crazy is there's that his name's Jason, but he goes by Ginger Bear House on the channel. I did a
Yeah.
live stream with him and Chuck a couple days ago. Do you know that fella?
Wait, say it again. Who?
Yeah, his first name's Jason. I can't think of it, but Ginger Bear House is what his YouTube and his handle online is. Um,
No.
he knows
Uh-uh.
Chuck. Chuck trained him up to do some ink assist with him years ago.
He was the guy with the beard that you had on?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, no, he told me, he said, "Hey, I'm a fan of your work." I remember that, but I didn't know his name. Maybe I do know his work, but I don't know if I've.
Yeah, he does like 3D model previs stuff in the movie industry right now, and he's getting
Oh, nice.
draw his own. He wants to get back to drawing comics, but he was telling me that in where he works, he has contact with Richard Bennett,
Oh, yeah,
and
Richard Bennett does, he was doing storyboards for a while.
and then he works, I think, in the same office with Chap Yap of Team
Oh,
Young.
yeah. Yeah, chap, yep. Yeah.
Yeah, he says I talked to him. He says he's so far removed from comics, he doesn't even think about it. I'm like, you got to hit that guy up, Chap Yap. Like,
Yeah.
people out there that want to hear from him and be like, what are your memories? What are your
Yeah.
thoughts?
Chap Yap and Sam Lau. Sam Lau used to be at Extreme Studios, and he left, and he was directing um some of the X-Men or Marvel animation. I can't remember what he was directing, but he became a big director.
Nice.
And Andy Park, who was good, is friends with David Finch. He's over. I got to hang out with him through Dave. Andy Park is the art director for Marvel Entertainment on Avengers and the Avengers Endgame and all that stuff. He's huge at Marvel for
That's
the
these
Marvel movies.
guys that just drew comics like these silly books, and then now they're doing these bigger, awesome things.
Yeah. I don't know. I love comics. I mean, I don't think I could ever leave, comics. I mean, I was in storyboards for a while, and honestly, I mean, I love creating comics. But when you're asking about Matt Broom, Daniel Goodwin says that legend says he's still at the bar in Dallas partying. Yeah. Yeah, they were there at the bar, but they were really, really cool guys, and it was a lot of fun. And I was supposed to meet Jim Lee because they were like, "Yeah, let's go over to we're going to go over to Jim Lee's room," but we went over and he wasn't there, so I don't know what Jim Lee was doing in the hotel. I don't know where he was, probably meeting somebody or I don't know what, but I was so excited, man. I was going to meet Jim Lee, and I didn't get to meet him, but I got to meet Rob Liefeld back then, and Rob Liefeld and Brian Denham. He was talking to Brian Denham. Brian Denham did a independent comic book there, and he was showing it at Dallas. And I remember Rob was talking to him and said, "All right, man, you're hired. Come, you're gonna come down. You're gonna come down to Extreme Studios." And so I just went, "Wow, is it really like that? Like it's that easy?" Rob just like you're hired, and that was it. Then Brian Denham got hired. He drove down to California, and
Yeah, it seems
uh,
like that's how it happens. I don't know about the other studios, but you seem to hear about that about Liefeld. He's like, "Hey, I like what you got. Let's go draw." And like to his credit, like that's awesome.
yeah, I was, I was there when I was standing behind him when he walked over to Brian Denham's table. I was standing there with him, and Dan Fraga was there, and uh, I remember Dan Fraga at that time. He had a stack full of his artwork on the table on his desk, and he was selling a page, every page of his comic book that he was drawing at that time. Some kid book, not for kids, but the name of the book was something kid or something.
Was it Kid Supreme?
Kid Supreme. He
Yeah.
was drawing like a Kid Supreme book, and he was selling every single page for $20.
Oh, damn.
He had a stack full of pages selling them for $20. I was like, oh my God. I mean, I don't think I've ever sold a page for $20. I'd give it away at that point. I mean, $20, man, that's insane. I mean, you got to put more value in your work, but
I mean, the original art market has become this incredible monster these days for a lot of artists, it seems. I guess maybe they just didn't think at the time that anyone would give a shit.
yeah, Jim Lee. Oh, I got to meet and hang out with Scott Williams, here in Texas. Scott Williams came to my buddy owns a convention, and he brought Scott Williams down. So I got to hang out with Scott after the convention. So me and Scott were hanging out. And I was showing him my work at the time that I was doing over David Finch. And here's a true story. True story. My first time meeting Scott Williams, who I idolized. Scott Williams was, he was the greatest guy. He trained the inkers that trained me.
Right.
So I wanted to meet Scott Williams forever. I finally get my opportunity to meet him, and not at as a fanboy at a convention. I'm actually going to get to meet him, face to face. Me and him sitting down with some friends afterwards. But the fanboy in me, I'm really excited. I'm real nervous to meet him, and I bring my one of my covers that I did with Dave Finch. I want to show him and get just talk inks with him. And so we're all, him and his wife, and we're all hanging out. Me and my friend is there, and his wife, and everybody. And so I'm really excited. I'm a diabetic, and so I'm so excited, so nervous that I go, "Oh my God, I'm shaking." And I
Uh-oh.
go, "Oh man, my sugar's dropped. My sugar has really, really dropped." And I go, "Oh my God, I think I'm gonna pass out." So I go over to we're all hanging out in the green room, and so I go over to the green room has a where you can go and order food. So I go over and I ask the guy up there, I said, "Hey, what do you got that's got sugar?" And he's like, "Oh, the only thing we got is frozen lemonade." And I was like, "Give me the frozen lemonade. I'll take it." So I have this cup of frozen lemonade in my hand, and I'm trying to eat it up real fast to get the sugar in my body because I'm getting the sweats, I'm getting the shakes, and I'm eating lemonade with an original page of David Finch that's just open, original artboard just under my arm.
Uh-oh.
I'm eating lemonade, getting it all over my shirt. And have you ever had those diabetics? Anybody watching is diabetic, and you got a diabetic attack? You know what it's like to have shakes. Your brain isn't really functioning properly. Like you're just gonna say stupid, weird stuff, or you're gonna kind of space out. So my friend comes and grabs me and he says, "Hey, Scott, this is Jimmy. Jimmy's an inker. He's been inking a lot. He loves your work." Uh, and I said, "Hey, Scott, hey, I really love your stuff, and I really like what you're doing." And Scott's sitting at a table there in the back, and he's signing posters. He's signing these prints because I guess they're doing it for the convention where he has a stack and he has to sign them, and then I guess they're handing them out to the people that buy certain badges or whatever. So he's sending them out, and I'm standing there with him. I didn't realize I put my cup of frozen lemonade that has condensation all over it on the top of his prints.
Oh shit. Oh no.
And dude, he lost his mind. He just like grabs it, moves it over, and grabs towels and wipes, and his wife and everybody's wiping it. And he's looking at me like he wants to kill me. And then he goes, "Is that artwork under your arm right there?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Is that original?" I said, "Yeah." "Oh, I'm Dave Finch's inker, and I'm inking him on this book. And here's my work." And he looks at it, and he sees me with lemonade, frozen lemonade, all over my fingers, all sticky. It's all over my shirt, it's on my face, like I'm a little retard. You can't say that anymore, right? Like I'm a little, I don't know, just special needs or something. And he's looking at me, and I look like I need a bib, or like I need a, I lost my big brother, and he takes the artwork from me. He looks over at his friend. He goes, Give me that, give me that." And they get one of those plastic mylar sleeves for original art, and he puts it in there for me. And he says, "You need to respect the artwork. You need to put the artwork in this." And he lectures me. And here's Scott Williams, and I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yes," because my brain's not really really working, and I'm just like, nodding my head. And he goes, "Okay." He hands it back to me, the artwork, and he goes, before he hands it back to me, he goes, "I'm gonna hand this back to you, but you leave it in this sleeve." And I go, "Okay, I will." Like I'm just like I can't even talk right, I'm like, okay, I will, I will, I will. And then he goes, he says to me, "Oh, that sleeve's $20, by the way."
Oh shit.
And I said, "What?" And I took him. He was serious, and I
Yeah.
thought he was. At first, I thought he was joking, and I thought, "Hey, I'm just taking this guy seriously." And he's like, That's you owe me $20." And I went, "Why? For what?" And he's like, That those aren't cheap." And I said, "Oh, okay. I'll go to the ATM, and then I'll go to your table and at the convention afterwards in the green." We were all in the green room taking a little break or whatever. So I do. I go over to his table and I give him $20, and he takes it. He took my $20. I thought he was joking, and I thought maybe I'm taking him seriously, but I should still. What if he's serious? And I gave it to him. He took the money for the Mylar sleeve. And I was like, dude, I had no idea. Those things aren't even, they're $4 on Amazon. But I don't know, apparently his was a better brand or something. But he was calmed down by then. It was doing a little bit better. He had original artwork on his table, and he told me not to touch it because I had sticky lemonade hand fingers. I said, "I already threw away the lemonade." And by then my sugar was getting a little better. I was starting to, get better cognitive,
Yeah.
and I said to him, "What kind of pen are you inking with?" And he actually talked to me for a little while. He said, "I'm inking with this pen." He showed me the pen that he was inking with, some pen from Japan, a cheap little plastic pen. That's all he uses now. He's no longer buying Kalinsky's, no Winsor Newton, no Raphaels or anything. And I was like, "Are you serious? You're inking with that?" He said, "Yeah." So he said, "Here, right." He wrote down the model number, where to get it, and so that I could try those brushes out. He was telling me about his back problems. He has back problems now. He had to lay on a recliner and ink Jim Lee's work, laying flat on the recliner with a pad and one of those little lap boards you kind of that Rob Liefeld kind of is famous
Right.
for sitting around on
Yeah.
drawing. He was inking Jim Lee's work on that like that until trying to until he was gonna get, I don't know, maybe he was getting surgery, or I don't remember what he was saying, but I just remember his back was really bad. And he talked to me for a little while, and then he's like, "Okay, you can get going." And I said, "Okay, all right." And he kind of seemed a little frustrated, like he easily got irritated easily. And I guess I don't know if I caught him on a bad day or what, but then I was like, "Dude, I never want to meet my heroes again." Like, but then again, first impression was I was this guy who didn't respect artwork. I've got lemon all, but I forgot to tell him I was diabetic, and I was like, "Dude, I was having a diabetic attack, and I needed to have that sugar, and that's the only reason I had it." But I forgot. I was so starstruck, you
Yeah.
know, and it was just
That's just when you're like it almost couldn't have gone worse. I mean, I guess you could have sat something down on some actual original artwork that's irreplaceable. I guess it could have been worse, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chuck was telling me that he said that Scott Williams doesn't use a like the nib anymore. If
Mm-mm.
I remember what Chuck was saying is that I guess he Scott Williams had an instant where the nib caught the paper and it snapped and it broke and sent metal shards flying and it came really really close to his eye.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And so he was like, "Well, I ain't doing that anymore. I'm not going to lose an eyeball because of these metal nibs." And I think that never occurs to me. I've got one. I use it often. Um,
yeah.
I never thought of that metal nib catching, snagging, and flicking into your eyeball because that sounds
Oh yeah.
nightmare.
They're still middle tips,
Yeah,
and they can be extremely dangerous if you're not careful
yeah.
with it. Yeah, it's but I've poked my fingers so many times with these things over the years. I don't know how I don't have like lead poisoning or something.
Yeah, some kind of lead
I,
poisoning or ink poison. They're razor
yeah,
sharp when they're brand new.
yeah, yeah. And when I say lead, I mean like lead of like in paint and metal and in the
Right.
ink. But yeah, I don't know how I've stabbed my fingers so many times with them, and I use different nibs. I don't just use the crow quill. I use different sizes. Hey, beautiful, what you doing? Oh, I'm on a live stream. You can come in if you want. Oh, okay.
Get your way.
Yeah,
Well,
I think
hello,
she's
Miss
in her.
Reyes.
Oh, they saying hi to you. She says hi back. She was already in bed and she's in her PJs. She's like, uh, her PJs aren't PG for the stream, so.
You lucky son of a bitch.
But I have tons of brushes, and I've invented and made my own brush caps to store my brushes in.
Oh,
Look at
that's
that.
it. Yeah, because you don't want those brushes to get,
Yeah.
jostled up or messed around when you just set them down with your other supplies. Yeah.
When you buy them, they come in these tubes, and I saw this tube and said, "Hey, wait a minute! If I just take this tube and I just simply put a little pad over it that I use I put these grips on everything that I use to keep my hand from getting carpal tunnel and
Yeah.
if I squeeze it, and then I just thought, hey, brush caps." And I never capitalized on it. I never decided to go to Shark Tank.
Yeah. Like capitalize on this. Like there's a market for this, I swear.
This is the brush that Scott Williams was using. These are the little synthetic brushes.
What's the brand?
It's some Japanese brand.
The
It's
current
basically like it's like Pintail, but it's it's a Japanese. If you type in Pintail, it'll pull up this Japanese version of it.
is it the Kurataki? Is that the
Yeah, like Kuretake or something like that. Yeah,
yeah, I know
it's something with a K on it, but I don't read Japanese, so if anybody can read that, I mean
Chuck's
Japanese.
been using those. He's bought a couple of those to practice by hand, and he swears by something like that.
Yeah, I use them too now. I've gotten so used to them now that I can ink with them. But the guy that was using this years and years, way before anybody was using these brushes, before Scott made them popular and everybody, Sandra Hope and well, Sandra's still using Raphael's, but before everybody else trying to copy Scott, long before that was oh man, I'm drawing a blank on both of them. And but they're both Marvel inkers, but they're smaller inkers, lesser known inkers at Marvel, but they were inking with these, man, back in, I mean, when these first came out, nobody knew what they were. And I have to try to remember. I'll remember one of these days. Sorry to leave everybody hanging who's viewing on that, but um, here's the thing that you need as an inker. You need a scratch blade. You need to get one of these. The scratch blade. So what you do is you just take the scratch blade like this, and you can scratch away the artwork.
Oh, to like
Oh,
scrape.
the ink. And I don't know if it's focused yet
Yeah,
on that,
it's struggling to focus. Come on, phone.
but you can see how it will. You don't need to use whiteout, or you can create little scratch effects with it.
got a little stack of just like regular razor blades like you'd use in a utility knife that I use kind
Oh,
of to do a
yeah,
skewer.
you can use that too, but utility knife's just a little. It's gonna give you a little bit of a different effect, you
Yeah.
know. So I have that too, the Exacto blade too. But you really want to have that, and then of course every inker has his addiction. No, this is a spoon. You have to have a spoon and an eyedropper, and you put a little bit of ink in here. And Sandra Hope taught me this. So you take a frayed brush, put some ink on the end of it, and you thin it with a with an eyedropper. Drop like 3 drops of water and a little bitty drop of ink, and then you take the frayed brush like this and you flick it. And when you flick it, it'll give you the scatter effect, and it's way better and much different than using a toothbrush. You know, if you use a toothbrush and you scatter like this, it's all over the place and it's
Right.
just tiny. This with the spoon and the brush will give you a droplet effect.
I really
That
that.
when she taught me this years and years ago, man, this I love it. So I have the you can see my spoon that I actually use for the ink. See how it gets dirty right at the tip? Because that's where I lay the ink in there, and then I thin it with just a drop of water, and then I just flick the brush. So if you guys are inking out there traditionally and you want to try it, just experiment with it. Put a drop of ink, and then you take the little dropper tip of your ink, you know, like this. If your ink comes in a bottle like this, you take this little tip, suck up some ink, put a drop, and then get a dropper for, yeah, like that, and then just get a little drop of water boom, on there, and then you mix it like a little addict, mixing a little, and then you just flick it like that. Flick the tip of it off the brush, and you just go like tick 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 like this, and it'll spatter, and it gives you a really cool spatter effect. That's more like those guys that take credit cards on or a card on an airbrush or a spray can, and they get those droplet effects. This is valuable stuff I'm sharing with you guys here. Secrets that
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
yeah.
I've tried experimenting with different. I've got a thousand like dead brushes that I'll use different bristles and then flicking it off different things just to try different effects. But I've never heard that thing, and now I really want to try it.
Yeah, yeah, that was a thing they did over at Wildstorm, and I learned it from, like I said, Sandra Hope. So give her credit for that, for doing that. And then Jonathan Glapion showed me how to use the credit card on my quill. He showed me how to take like a card, and then you take a debit card, or he had a library card, and you would take it and put your quill, and then you flick it off the quill like pop pop pop, and get little droplets that way. But man, I would do that and I would crack the quill. So Sandra said, "Oh, don't do it that way. Do it like this." And then uh, I was like, "Oh my god!" You know, she saved me on that one.
Yeah.
And then I ink my borders with the C nib right here because they're flat. I ink my panels and my borders like that.
So
Gel
you do the
pens.
borders with like a dip pen as opposed to that.
Yeah, I don't really use I just recently got multi-liners because I started doing sketch covers. So I do my multi-liners on my sketch cover, but I don't use these for inking because I don't like the color of the ink. And then they say that it's archival, meaning that it's going to last a long time. But I've inked stuff with microns just, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago. And I looked at some of the old artwork that I kept in that in my old FedEx boxes, and I go, "Hey, this ink is it's not holding up like the Coroner ink. You can see the difference now." So
Right.
I don't touch that. I don't ink with that. But that's pretty much all the stuff, you know, that I use. You know, Dr. Martin bleed proof. This is really good. Here's one thing. My wife, you know, she eats real healthy, and she'll even part of her diet, she'll eat baby food.
Oh
So
wow.
she has we have these baby food jars. Yeah, I don't know how she can eat this crap. I don't know how babies do it either, but she'll eat it. And then I say, "Save me the jar," because I use the jar and I fill it with water. And then I don't throw out the water right away because this could be used as an ink wash.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
watered down ink. And then see that's water in there, and then I use that one for white. So I have one for white, one for black. You gotta separate the white and black, you know. So I've got those, and then I got sponsored by Eon Artboard, and they used to have ink. I don't know if they still have ink. Their ink is really really good. If they still offer this, I don't know if they're still around, but if so, go to Eon uh, PROD eonprod.com. I think is what their website used to be. This ink, if they still offer it, man, this Vortex ink was great. I keep it because when I run out of my Cornor, I'm going to use this stuff right here. I have to shake it up a little bit, but it's really really good ink. So I
Oh,
still keep,
try that.
yeah, I keep always keep your old brushes.
Yep.
Never throw away a brush.
Yeah. Here's my collection of old brushes. I don't throw none of them away.
Yeah, keep them
Right.
because you take brush cleaner like this, and what you do is you let me get the small one. It's easier with this. So you take your brush cleaner right here. Let me just open it off camera here because it's takes two hands. Oh well, it's brush cleaner. You take an old brush. You take your brush when you're done inking with it. When you're finished and you've dipped it in water, you stir it in your water. It's wet. You take it in this wax and you roll it. You roll it around in that wax, and you get a really nice. Once you're done rolling it, and you have it to a really fine point, then you store it away. You put it like in your brush cap, Jimmy's brush cap, um, trademark. No, you put it in patent pending. So then you put this, you get it to a nice fine point like that, and then you store it away. And what happens? That wax will dry around it, keeping your brush at that point. So that way it doesn't get damaged right away. I have brushes that I've had that still work 30 years later.
Really? Holy crap.
Yeah. So you use a brush cleaner. It'll clean your brush, but you also you leave it on and then you store your brush away, and it works. It's that same thing that when you buy a brush that's got wax on it that keeps the shape on it. That's the same thing. So little tips that I learned from a painter. So it's nice to hang out with people that aren't even comic book artists. But here is so I make videos like this. I have a bunch of these videos on my channel where like I just say, hey, here here's how you do this and how you can do that. But people watching, man, here's some good tips, man, for people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe you can edit the video and chop it up and clip some stuff and just be like, hey, here's a here's an inker with 30 experience. Two inkers, you know, um, and between me and Chuck, man, I'm sure there's a lot of things, a lot of knowledge, man, that we know. And he's been an inker longer than me. I switched over to pencils, so.
Yeah, I bet he'd love to hear all this stuff. I see. I want to hear him give the same kind of advice like you are, because I'm sure he's got all kinds of knowledge. He shared with me.
Oh yeah.
I'd like to get some of his knowledge on the record, just like you.
Yeah, he might even know more stuff than I do because he's been an inker longer than I have. He was inking at Wildstorm when I think I broke in 1994, and I think Chuck was already at Wildstorm when I started working. So Chuck is I think he's my senior. I think so. Who knows? But I'm gonna run over and go kiss the wife and go hang out. But you
Yeah.
guys. Appreciate everybody taking a look and getting to see my studio. Look at that. That's me back there on the screen.
Well, thanks for
Great.
jumping on, man. I loved everything you shared here. This was very awesome. I appreciate it so much.
Yeah, you get you mix it up from your stream where people are watching you draw, and you're drawing, and I'm here talking comic business and
Ah,
stories and history and showing the supplies and stuff. So everybody got a little bit of everything.
yeah, that's a good stream. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, and the guys in the stream were making me laugh. I mean, some of these guys were, cracking jokes in there and made me laugh. I was reading the stream at the same time, so I
Yeah.
stuttered when I was trying to reply because I'm trying to read what these guys are saying at the same time.
Yeah, there's a good bunch of guys that join up on these streams on my end too, so it's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to read it on my phone, but my eyes were getting older. I'm like, I don't know if I can read. Yeah, thanks again, man. Thanks for letting me be on here and just showing some of my work, uh, my new book I'll be working on. So yeah, if you and Chuck get time, that'd be nice to have you guys and in my book, to have you guys do something,
Yeah, yeah.
for
Well,
that. And
I'll mention.
that'd be
I'm sure he'd be. I would imagine he'd be interested.
yeah. Yeah, just tell me right now it's a creator owned books, which means I've got no money up front. It's one of those things
Oh,
where
yeah.
you create it. But I already have a publisher too as well that said, hey, if you don't crowdfund, we're interested. We want to, take a look at your book. But they're a decent sized publisher. So I don't know. I might, but honestly, I think I'd make more money crowdfunding because, it all go to me,
Yeah,
where with
yeah,
them, the distributor, they want to go through comic stores, the distributor takes a cut, they're going to take a cut. So, it's just easier if it's more work for me, but if I do it myself, but I'll, more money. And right now, with the way the economy was in 2024, man, it was tough for comic arts,
yeah.
so it'd be nice to make a little bit of make as I can make as much money as I can, honestly, to reward myself for the hard work, the hard labor, intense labor that comic books. I mean, it, man. You drew that Master of the Universe, like I don't know, 300 pages or something like that.
Yeah, it's 6 volumes. It's about that many pages total. Absolutely.
No joke, man. Here's another antique that it's hard to find, but I don't get rid of it because these are great technical pins
Yeah.
that I don't even know if they make anymore. So
I had one time, but it was such a pain in the butt to like take it apart and clean it. I'm like,
oh yeah,
I'm not interested in this anymore.
oh yeah, they're a little hard to take care of, but I mean if you take care of them, they're tedious. It's tedious, ripping it all apart. Like you got to be part mechanic. And you got to be a mechanical engineer to take those things apart. But they're worth it. They're pretty good. And Mr. D Man says just the tip.
Yep.
Yeah, people making me laugh, dude. It's funny, but I got to get going. It's already past my bedtime. I stayed
Yeah.
up 2 hours past my bedtime. So
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
yeah. No, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. I've never been on a stream like this where it had to be on the mobile phone. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
Next
the YouTube one. It seems like that's all it lets us do. I was kind of worried about that. I got to invest in the StreamYard thing. I got to upgrade.
next stream, this is part one, guys. So part two with Jimmy and Rob, the Jimmy and Rob show. I'm going to show you guys my home arcade. I've got a home arcade.
Heck yeah.
So uh, when I say I've got an arcade in my home, I am not exaggerating. So we'll do that part two next time. Maybe me and Anna will be on the stream, and I'll get her to play some of the arcade games. You guys can see it. I've
That'd be
got driving ones, shooting ones, fighting games. I've got all the arcades there. So
party at
it's just,
Jimmy's house.
yeah, I'm telling you, man, it's gonna be a lot of fun. We should one day, man. Just like people come in and hang out in my arcades, and I'm not even done yet collecting them. I've still got more that I want to collect and get, but it's just like I said, 2024 was pretty tough, so I didn't do any luxury expenses.
Right.
So and then I came to the point where I was almost eating ramen. I was like, oh, how crazy is 2024 going to get?
Yeah, you can
So
only get better, right?
yeah,
I
I hope
have,
so. It should.
I have faith.
Yeah, me too. Then the economy's coming back. The economy's going to come back, so it's
Yep.
going to be good. Yeah, so we'll do that next time. I'll show you guys my arcade. I'll give you a tour of the arcade while you draw and stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, thanks a lot. I don't know how to leave the stream.
Uh,
Let's see.
it just should be, I think, an X in the top or something like that, just to hit the
Oh,
X.
you just hit that? Wow.
Yeah, and then just you're gone, and then
Oh,
that should be it.
all right. Well, thanks a lot, everybody, for joining. Appreciate it. You guys continue watching Rob, man. Subscribe to his channel. Rob's a really neat guy. I love your videos, Rob. I mean, just being up here, hanging out with you, man. And I actually, what I do is, and for everybody watching, I'm a viewer too. So what I do is I just put on Rob, and listen to his BS. And I love Rob raging. We should just call him Raging Rob, because whenever he does those Rob Liefeld comics, you just hear him talk about, look at this, and another crotch shot, and the dick in a jar, and I just all the stuff that makes me laugh. But so I play your video as I'm working, and I draw, and I'm just giggling and laughing, hearing the crazy stuff you're saying, and I like it. It's inspiring. And I look up every now and then, I see artwork that inspires me, and I just continue drawing. So I think, people here should all do that too. You should watch you and subscribe. But
Thank
all
you,
right.
sir. I appreciate that very, very much.
Yeah, no problem. All right, well, take it easy, Rob. I'll see you guys, and thanks everybody. I appreciate the comments and everything on my work, and the compliments and stuff, and you guys are all great. So, all right, well, take it easy. I'll see
Yep.
you.
See you later. Well, that was awesome as hell. That was really cool. That was a lot of fun. Got a lot of connections. He knows a lot of people, and that was really fun. I think I'm gonna shut it down myself. Oh yeah, yeah. There's his link. Everyone, go follow Jimmy Reyes art. Go do it. Yeah, I'm gonna shut mine down too. Thanks everybody for staying in there. D-Man, Dan Goodwin, Mastiff Panda, whoever else might be in there lurking.